there is also doctors, personal, like medical personnel, nurses that they are ready to speak out. So I think the unions, they've been speaking out more. So these guys from this ambulance, they are like veterans. They are really professional. They are
For sure.
also they are not afraid to show what they are doing. Like they just do what they've been trained and what they can with their equipment that they have. So I went to do interview to them, and they say, yeah, just come along. And I think they were less afraid first because they really wanted, like, look, people should know the truth. Also, if people know
So
the
you said
truth.
that a couple times. Why do you think people are not knowing the truth? Is it something similar to here? Even in Thailand, we're wondering about, how accurate are the numbers? Is it lack of testing? Is it, what is
Well,
it?
I think the first is like always like, oh wow, let's try not to create a state of alarm. There is this worry about let's not make people panic. That somehow I understand, but at the same time, if you don't show like the reality, people then is not aware. Then people will react in a more irresponsible way. That I think that the problem here, that one of the main problems was that the majority of the population was not aware. I mean, there was a part that, yeah, I understand it's a new virus. We didn't know. It was unexpected. That I don't think was so unexpected. But I understand that part. That we never confront this kind of situation. But come on, we live in a global world. Like we have the information what was happening in China, in Asia, then in Italy. But when you have these policies of like, let's not make people too worried, then people don't know the truth, and then they behave in a more irresponsible way. They are careless. So, I mean, I always, for example, covering so many years wars and natural disasters and this kind of situations, my mentality that I'm just a normal person, always is like, okay, let's get ready for the worst, but hope for the best. But if you get ready and you prepare for the worst, so at least when the worst come, at least you are prepared. That not means that you have to, create too much alarm, but you need to be realistic.
Sure.
And then from there, you can work out. You can, like as in one of the persons that appeared in the story I did for Al Jazeera was like, look, like the main rule for preparedness to be ready in these kind of situations, in front of like misinformation or I don't know about this virus, so you prepare for the worst. When there is less information, you prepare for the worst, and at least you'll be prepared if the worst comes. If not, look, thanks God.
Sure.
So, and I think that there was also like one of the main problems is like governments, they worry more about the economy. The first thing that they worry is more about the economy, not about the health of the people. That was the main concern. It's like the confinement. There is a part that, okay, is to not spread the virus, but the main reason of the confinement is like because they were worried of saturating the healthcare system, the hospitals.
For sure. I mean, there's that like alarmist attitude that we heard in the U.S. for a while, where it was like, oh, the media is blowing this thing up, and now it's kind of bad there. Now people are starting to stress about it. But I feel like, and that's something else I kind of wanted to get your thoughts about, like how it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Sometimes when you're working in media, everybody's kind of grouped together as the media. Okay, the media is lying, the media is controlling you, or now there's all these talk about fake news. So how do we combat that now in 2020 for trying to get the information out correctly without being an alarmist, but like you're saying, making sure people are prepared for what may happen? Because if it doesn't happen, then people are going to say, "Oh, you see, they exaggerated."
Well, I think sometimes the best way to put out the proper, I mean, the information, the data is out there. It's just a matter of going out and ask. For example, when they start to come out with the first number of people that was dying, I found it a little, there is something a little strange here. So because it was difficult. I didn't have access to the official numbers. So I thought, let's go to the people that are manufacturing coffins and let's check the demand, And so when I went there, suddenly it's like, wow, I got more impressed of seeing the faces of the guys doing coffins and what they were saying. Like they were like really scared because I said, look, the numbers that the government is saying of people dying don't match with the demand. And so there are different ways, it's like even the official numbers to know how many people is dying. I mean, it's going to come out sooner or later. There is a way that you can find out going to the official registration, like a social security official registration. So when people die, it's going to be registered. Oh, this people is dead. Like governments know, like medical care personnel, they send me documents that they have the daily information of how many people died, and they even have like the prediction of how many people might die that day. So always the lack of information that comes out, it's always for economic and political interest. The government is afraid to bring out the real information. They are afraid that they will be blamed. They are worried that the opposition are going to use this against them. So it's a mix of things that happen that creates this kind of like confederacy of dances situation. That sure. At the end the information is not out there, then people is not aware, people don't react, and it's like, oh my God, what are we doing?
So right now when you go out into the street, what's it look like?
Well, I think now in Spain, the majority of the people now is more aware. The confinement, I think it's working pretty well. The majority of the people is following it. You could see the first days because there was a lack of information and the media and governments were giving this soft message like, hey, it's not so bad, don't worry. So people didn't understand, like, oh, why suddenly we have to be at home, For a month, they've been saying that it was just it's like a flu, and suddenly in few days, oh no, actually it's like a flu, but stay at home. It's like, there's so it's normal that people. So the first days was people did not understood. Now people is at home, and it's a little creepy. You go out, it's this mix. Sometimes it's like nice, it's like, oh my God, there is no traffic. It's nice, like because there is no activities in the industry and factories. Like Barcelona, we have all these like big cruise ships that are polluting so much the sea, the sky, and now it's like the sky is so clean, the water in this. So there is this mix. There is a part that is like, oh my God, this is beautiful, so quiet, so nice, so clean. But then it's like it's so sad and so creepy. You go at night, especially. You drive around and it's also quiet. There is nobody. It's even scary. You go back home with this feeling. It's like, oh my God, this is really sad. And that sometimes time to time on the day, there is this thing. This is really happening. It's like, it's crazy because also it developed so quick, it happened all so quick. It's transforming our lives so fast that still sometimes it's difficult to accept and to understand, wait, is this really happening?